Oh no, he's a top 10 player for the rest of his career.
Definitely.
So moving on from CJ, I apologize, CJ, you're still a very good player. But moving on from CJ, we have here at number 6. Yeah, I just get a little tested sometimes. We have here at number 6, though, we have Zach Lavine from the Bulls. Lavine's a great player. Whenever we think of Lavine, we definitely don't think of a defensive maestro, but offensively, wow, he's gifted.
Yeah, and even saying that about the steals, I mean, this is a guy who's or the defense. He was a guy who was fourth in defensive rebounds and third in steals among shooting guards.
Not bad.
No, so in terms of being able to do the things that are counted defensively, he's clearly able to do them. In terms of maybe being able to stay with some of the other shooting guards who are a lot more athletic in terms of quickness off the ball in the league, that's where
That's where
he's
it
going to
comes from.
struggle in terms of because like he is super athletic. We've seen the things he can do in the dunk contest, not a matter of that. It just seems like he's a guy who maybe, like we said, can't keep up with a James Harden, with a Devin Booker, with guys like that. It seems like he would, like you said, struggle on the defensive end. I agree.
It, I don't know if you can put up, like, he had a great year last year. He put up 25.5 points. Like, we're talking the same level year, if not better, than someone like Brandon Ingram last year. Like, he had a fantastic offensive year. It's not like he was shooting the ball horribly either. He shot it fairly well. I don't know what to take here. Like, is it pure empty stats because that team was just horrid, or is this actually what he's going to be on a consistent level? Can he replicate this on a contender?
Yeah, and I mean that's the hard thing because even to this day, it almost seems like a disbelief that Zach Lavine has gotten this good. Because there was a time that he was a backup point guard on a team, and even though he was good, it didn't seem like he was going to be the guy. When he went to
Minnesota?
Minnesota, it didn't seem like he was necessarily going to be what he became now.
I thought he'd be a 6 man, like a Jordan Clarkson or something, or Lou Williams.
Exactly. So maybe that's where some of the doubt in Zach Lavine does come because I mean ultimately the guy has pretty much at the top of every major statistical category for shooting guards. I mean he was fourth in points, he was fifth in rebounds, eighth in assists, third in steals, fourth in defensive rebounds. He was third in turnovers as well, but we see that with all the top guys. So I think the main difference with Lavine that sets him apart from a guy like McCollum, like we spoke about, is the fact that he does do other things in the game opposed to just really score the ball. Like I said, he is able to be a bit more of a playmaker, still rebounds pretty well. He's a bit more hard-nosed, he's a bit more athletic than McCollum. But in terms of maybe staying ahead of a guy like Shea, I don't know how long he'll do that, but I do think this year, based on his ranking for me, obviously, that he'll probably put up a pretty similar year to that last year, and it's going to be either a top 5 or borderline top 5 spot again for Zach Lavine, just based on his performance this year. So that's where we have him.
Yeah, no, can't agree with you more. To me, he's looking right now like Devin Booker was 2 years ago or a year ago. Hopefully, he can keep putting it up, keep being consistent on it, and I think the only way he really does crack the top 5 for me though is if his team starts contending. If he's the best player on a team that's in the playoff spot, or in the hunt at the very least, now we're talking potential of him cracking our top 5. Because our top 5, they're very good players. not like Zach Lavine's a bad player. Zach Lavine is very, very skilled. He's a very good scorer, one of the best in the league. But you can't just be one way. You can't be one faceted. And if you're going to be only one way player, only an offensive player, you better be the best damn offensive player in the league.
Yeah, and I mean,
Other than that, it doesn't cut it on its own.
no, and that's just it. Looking at the guys left, there'd be one guy who I'd say is pretty much only offensively minded, and like you said, he's the best offensively minded guy.
That's
Versus
the thing.
all the other guys, they're actually very good on the two-way end when you look at it. Even a guy that might surprise some people when I do come out and say it. But with that being said, like you said too, he hasn't established himself on a winning team.
Yep.
where again, all of the guys ahead of them, even someone who hasn't been maybe a consistent winning team, they did find a way to do it at least by the end of last year. And Zach Lavine's like that Bulls team never really did much with him. The Timberwolves team, they might have made a playoff appearance with him, just if I can't remember off the top of my head based on when he was there. But it wasn't because of Zach Lavine, right? It was because of Towns, so it's because of other guys there.
Wiggins.
Yeah, so it's a guy who hasn't really, when like you're kind of suggesting, when he's the guy, his team doesn't really have much success based off it. So yeah, it could very well be empty stats, but the empty stats are so good, he still finds himself near a top 5 spot.
Oh, for sure, and that's the difference between him and someone like Sexton. Like we were talking about the difference between Sexton and Lavine earlier. Lavine is an upper echelon offensive player. And as you pointed out there, he's not a bad defensive player. He's worked on that his whole career. He's gotten better. He's not going to be. He's not a top 3 in the league. He's not a top 10 in the league for that matter. The eye test kind of gives us that, for example. He might get blown by some of the faster players, but he's an average defender at the very least. So he puts up a lot of minutes, so he does get the defensive stats, and he's okay on defense. But he does have to improve on defense or become like a 30-point per game guy to move into the top 5.
Yeah, or at very least become more than just a, like I would say, average outside shooter, guy who's never shot above 40% any of the years. I don't even think he's hit 39% looking at it quickly here. So if he could hit the 3 at like a 40% eclipse for a year, maybe get up to like 28 points per game, like you said, 6 assists, maybe instead of this kind of borderline 4,
Or 3.
continue to improve on the defensive end, and actually get Chicago to a playoff spot, then it's a discussion of if he's top 5 or not. But for now, it's good.
Not a discussion.
Yeah, it's really just going to be him and Shea fighting out even for the 6th spot, I think, for next year if I had to predict moving forward. But I do think this year, this specific year, Zach Lavine's will do enough to keep the 6th spot justified for where he is now.
Yep, can't agree with you more. Unless something crazy happens and he's not cracking that top 5. Top 5 just another level. And Shea and Zach are